My name is Jack, and I'm a 39-year-old marketing executive living in Seattle, Washington. This is my story. I remember the sound before I saw her, the sharp click of her heels on the marble floor as she swept into the restaurant 5 hours late. I'd been there all evening, nursing a second bottle of wine, doing my best to ignore the waiter's pity and the sympathetic stares from strangers. The candle on my table had almost burned out. The birthday cake they'd brought me long ago had started to sag. And then she arrived, my wife Lisa. She wasn't alone, of course, but surrounded by a couple of her tipsy friends, their laughter slick with champagne. "See?" She called out loud enough to grab the entire room's attention. "Told you he'd still be here, waiting like some sad little puppy." Their laughter echoed through the restaurant, sharp, dismissive, and cruel. I simply raised my glass and smiled. In that moment, my decision was final. The marriage was already dead. It hadn't started this way. Once she looked at me as if I was the only man on earth. She would whisper promises in the dark. And we built a home and dreamed of having children. For years I believed in her and us. But love doesn't shatter in a single night. It rots slowly, buried beneath a series of excuses and a cloud of perfume. She started working later, clutching her phone, and treating me like old furniture she'd grown tired of. I noticed. I always noticed. That night, as her friends ordered rounds on my credit card and mocked me between sips, I replayed every lie from the past year. Every slip of the tongue, every empty apology. The pain that once felt like a broken glass now hardened into something colder, more deliberate and exact. They thought I was weak, too desperate to ever leave. They mistook my patience for surrender, my silence for defeat. They had no idea who they were laughing at. So I began my plan quietly with no dramatic scenes or shouting. Confrontation only warns the enemy. Instead, I observed. I collected. I listened. Her phone was easy. She was careless and arrogant. One night, while she showered, I mirrored her messages onto my laptop. And there it was, hotel bookings, late-night whispers to a man named Eric, and photos she thought she'd erased. I didn't feel heartbreak, not anymore. Evidence had replaced emotion, and evidence was a weapon. Next came the finances. I had always managed our money. She never paid attention, too busy spending. With subtle adjustments, I moved funds, created hidden reserves, and transferred assets into my name. If she noticed at all, she would find nothing but illusions. Then I rewrote the will, had it notarized, and sealed it. The property, the accounts, the insurance, it all slipped silently from her grasp into mine. At night, she still laughed at me, smug and certain. She thought she was winning. I let her. The first strike landed on my birthday. She thought walking into that restaurant with her entourage had humiliated me. In truth, it marked the day I finally cut myself free. I left without paying. Hours earlier, I had quietly moved the reservation to her name, using her credit card. Watching her face when the bill came for 5 hours of food, wine, and indulgence was my first taste of satisfaction. I walked home beneath the city lights, feeling lighter than I had in years. But the true blow came later. The divorce papers, timed perfectly and stacked with proof of her affair, were delivered directly to her office. All the colleagues she had bragged to about her perfect life would watch her fall apart. Eric received his own packet, complete with screenshots, timestamps, and photos. His wife got one too. I made sure of it. No shouting, no violence. My revenge was clean, exacting, and legal. It was public enough to shame her, sharp enough to cut her, and private enough to shatter her pride. And this morning, my phone lit up. 98 missed calls. Her name over and over again. She knows now about the accounts. The house, Eric's wife throwing him out. The job she may lose. Her reputation unraveling from the whispers. I didn't answer. I poured my coffee, sat by the window, and savored the quiet. Do I regret it? No, a marriage is meant to be a covenant. She turned it into a performance. She thought I was just the audience, clapping while she danced with other men. She forgot I was the stage itself. She only stood because I allowed it. She wanted me to be a pitiful dog waiting at a table. Instead, I became the wolf who walked away, leaving her in the wreckage she built. I can picture her now, pacing, dialing, her voice cracking with panic. Her friends, the ones who laughed at me, are ignoring her calls. Eric is begging forgiveness from his wife. And my wife is finally realizing she was nothing more than a diversion, never the prize. Revenge isn't rage. It's precision, patience, and silence held until it becomes deafening. When I entered that restaurant on my birthday, I was still her husband. When I walked out, I was something else entirely. Free, untouchable, and done waiting.